Welcome to itvideocoach.com. This is for Windows Server 2003, how to create a mirror, and when to break a mirror versus removing a mirror. Also, check out my YouTube tag, Grismore, that's Grizzamore, at youtube.com for a whole bunch more training videos. For high quality, downloadable videos, be sure to go to www.itvideocoach.com to get the full video. And also up there you can get the video clips. They're not all in 10-minute increments. You can get them in the full configured video clip. Be sure to check out www.itvideocoach.com. With that, let's get started with this video presentation. Alright, welcome to this video presentation from itvideocoach.com and YouTube tag Grismore, Grizzamore. Welcome back, everybody. This is a video presentation on how to create mirror drives in Windows Server 2003. The first thing is we have to make sure that we have a server that has at least enough disk drives to create a mirror. Now there's really two different types of mirrors. There's a situation with a mirror when we're going to mirror the operating system, and then we can also just mirror drives for data. This demonstration is just plain old drives to mirror data. We'll have another presentation later on how to mirror the actual operating system drives. Now I'm going to take you through the entire process from creating the mirror to breaking the mirror and removing the mirror. So we go into Disk Management under Computer Management, and we're going to take a look at the drives that we have. Notice that we have two drives that are dynamic disks. Now when we first add drives to a system, they start out as basic. The very first thing we actually do is initialize the drives. We initialize the drives and then we convert them to basic. In order to create a mirror, we've got to have at least two drives that have been initialized and, as we can see here, converted to dynamic disks. So we'll pick disk 1 and disk 2, and we'll make sure that they're dynamic disk drives. Then, we can create a mirror two ways. Either we can create a mirror from scratch by right-clicking, choosing New Volume, Welcome to the New Volume wizard, and choosing the Mirrored option. I then add my other dynamic drive, choose my space for my disk drive. Usually we would use the entire drive, but for demonstration purposes we'll just use part of the drive. We'll assign a drive letter, we'll label it mirror, and perform a quick format. And this will go out and actually create my mirror drives. So the main point to take from this is that the drives actually have no data on them. They're just blank disk drives with unallocated space, and we're creating a mirror from scratch. Now that the mirror is created, we can actually go out there and see what the end user would see. So I have this brand new mirror drive, which is now E. From an end user's perspective, I can now create a brand new folder. It'll write it to the one drive, and then mirror the data to the other. And I can place some data in that folder. Okay? After completing the mirror and placing some data on the drive, if I decide I don't want the mirror any longer, I have some choices. I could do something, for example, such as removing the mirror. Now, I would remove the mirror if I want to get rid of one half of the drive for a purpose such as maybe using the drive for something else. Maybe I have another application or other data and I need this drive, and the mirroring is not so important to me anymore. So I might decide just to simply remove the mirror. I might also remove the mirror in a situation where one of the drives is failing. For example, if disk 2 had errors and I was not able to mirror anymore, I'd want to remove the bad half of my mirror. So the point that I'm trying to make is I can remove the mirror when the drives are healthy or if one of the drives is failing. So we'll go ahead and pick disk 2. Let's pretend that disk 2 is failing and I need to remove the bad half of the mirror. So I'll just remove that bad half of the mirror and I'm back to one drive. Now this label we see here is just that. It's just a label. Even though it says mirror, the drives aren't really mirrored, obviously. Now the other way to create a mirror would be if I have a drive, and by the way, this mirror drive is still out here, but it's not actually mirrored, but the data still lives. And just for clarity, let's look at the properties of this volume, and let's change that label to something different. We'll just call it volume 2. Okay? I just want to make sure you guys understand that this volume just because it had the name mirror on it is not mirrored. Okay, so it's just a plain old volume, and from the end user's point of view, it is just that, just the volume. Okay, with the data on it. Now what I can choose to do is to take this volume that I currently have and now create a mirror from it. Where before I had a disk, or two disks actually, that had unallocated space. And what I wanted to do was to go out there and actually create a mirror from scratch. Now in this situation, I'm going to create a mirror from an existing disk drive that has data. Now if this drive had a lot of data, this process could be, well, fairly time consuming. So I'm going to create a mirror this way. And I now have my mirror drives. And from the end user's perspective, again, the data is still out there on my mirror. Again, the end user just sees drive E, but behind the scenes, as the administrator, we know that the data is protected. There would be also a third way to create a mirror, which would be from disk part or the command prompt. I'll have another video on that one later. Okay, let's just focus on doing it in the GUI. The GUI is probably the easiest way to do it in most cases anyway. All right, so we're mirrored there, and we're good to go. Now, before we looked at removing a mirror. Remember, you can remove a mirror if the drives are healthy or if one of the drives is failing. In either case, you can remove the mirror. Okay? Now, we can only break the mirror if both drives are healthy. Let's take a look. We're going to break the mirror. Let's pretend that we just want to take the mirror and just break it in half. I want one half on this machine, and I want one half on another machine. Again, keep in mind, you can only break the mirrored volume when both drives are healthy. Here's another way to remember it. You can't break something that's already broke. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and break the drives, and a really cool thing happens. It takes the next available drive letter and assigns it. So from the end user's point of view, I actually now have two drives, and the data that was on the original volume has now been broken off onto the other volume. So I have the data alive on both volumes. So what I could do in theory is take this drive out of this server, move it to another server, and my data would be intact. You could almost do it on purpose as a type of tape backup in a sort of way. Only instead of using a tape, I'm using a disk drive. So that's a pretty neat feature. So I have that option to create a mirror and then simply break the mirror and remove one half and place it in another system. So that's how you mirror those drives. Now, the last thing I want to show you, I'm going to go ahead and delete this other volume, and I'm just deleting the volume. I'm going to add the mirror back to disk 2, and I just deleted the volume using the delete volume option. Now I have two drives that are mirrored. Now, no matter which one I click on, if you notice very closely there that little lines go through the drives, if I right-click and delete the volume, I actually lose the entire volume. The whole thing's gone. So be careful when you go to delete a volume. Okay? Now the last thing I can do is mirror the operating system. I'm running out of time, so we'll save that for another video presentation. Okay? So that was just a demonstration on how to mirror a volume that has data. There's no operating system there. You do have the option to mirror the operating system if you choose. Okay? So you can see it's very simple to do mirroring with your data drives on Windows Server 2003. Make sure you go to www.itvideocoach.com or go to YouTube, check out the keyword Grismore for more training videos. Thank you very much.